I'm a village guy, village kid, grew up in the village in Bangladesh, and then moved to the city because my parents moved. And the rest of it is just a normal kid that all of us go through. And I got the scholarship to go to the States as a Fulbright scholar, and did my PhD there, started teaching in one of the universities there. So enjoyed the life, enjoyed very much. But I always wanted to come back to Bangladesh. And then a big thing began between Pakistan and Bangladesh. Bangladesh was a part of Pakistan, if you remember, it was East Pakistan. But we didn't get along very much. So there was a military intervention in East Pakistan, and we rebelled. We wanted to have a separate country of our own. But the situation got so bad, in 1974, we had a terrible famine in the country. People were dying of hunger. You read about famine in the books, and you see how terrible it feels about people dying of hunger. People die from diseases that we know this is what happens. People die of old age. People die of many reasons. But people dying of hunger is the most unacceptable way that one can think of. Just somebody doesn't have enough to eat day after day and gradually slides into death. One thing hit me very hard in the village: loan sharking. People giving tiny loans to another person and grab everything out of that person. I read about loan sharking in the storybooks, in the novels, in all kinds of things, but I never seen face to face what the loan sharking is. I meet the victims of the loan shark. It's a terrible story she has to tell me or he has to tell me. And I meet the guy who does the loan sharking, lend the money. And I cannot believe that people can be so cruel to each other in the same village. And I felt totally bad. I felt ugly inside of me, that how can this go on? And I started realizing that this is not only in this village, this is in the next village and the next village and the whole of Bangladesh. Then I realized it's not only whole of Bangladesh, it's the whole world is a victim of this. And nobody does anything about it. Maybe it's impossible. People say it's impossible to do anything. Maybe nobody tried anything. I got very worried what to be done. Suddenly an idea came to my mind. Why don't I lend the money myself? If I lend the money, people don't have to go to the loan shark. They will come to me. What is the best advantage you have in designing this? And I tried to think, what is it that I had? What did I do? Because I was always busy doing things. I was not thinking anything. I was just doing. I said, what is it that I had in my favor that it worked? Then I found an answer to that. I said, well, as soon as that question asked, I said, you know what happened to me? The best thing I did, I never studied banking. I never learned anything about banking. I said, if I had studied banking, I have to follow the rules that I learned in the book. And if I follow those rules, I'll never do this. I'm violating every single rule in the book. If I had learned that, I'll be scared to death. But today, I didn't feel anything bad doing things because it works, it's needed, I did that. So make it more understandable the way I tried to explain. I said, in designing this bank, what I did, Whenever I need a rule, a procedure, I just look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I learn how they do it, I just do the opposite. And it worked. They go to the rich, I go to the poor. Very simple. They sit in the urban cities, particularly the business district of the urban city. I do the reverse. I go to the remote village first. Start at the remotest place first and gradually come closer to a little bit well-connected village. But first branch must be at the remotest place. So reverse that. They lend money to men, I lend money to women. Reverse that. You are lucky. Not every child in the whole world is as lucky as you are. You reach out, you see all the technology that's taking place. And that should give you a push. I can design a technology to solve this. It's possible. It doesn't make a lot of things, just a few ideas, and it works. So when you want to change the world, it doesn't need lots of capacity to do things. It's just a simple thing. It's something that strikes you, and then you hit that, and suddenly it happens. That's why I was elaborating on how microcredit came. It's not a very kind of out of the way. It's a simple thing. If the loan sharks are giving the money and exploiting them, why don't they give the money? Finish the job. It's done. And create an institution to make it happen. And that's how it happened. Now, one after another, you see the other problems, you come up with the other problems. So we could have a series of those social business we have already created, and you can look it up in the internet and so on, how it's done, what is done. So what I'm trying to tell you today, you can create the whole world by yourself. Don't look up to somebody else to do that. You yourself is enough to change the whole world. All it needs is a tiny little idea, just a tiny little idea. If you can solve one person's problem, just one person's problem, you can solve the problem of the entire world by repeating it. So problem solving is not something that comes in a big chunk. It comes in a tiny, tiny bite-sized piece. So think about huge changes, but always start very small. That's the trick. Once you succeed in doing the small things, all you have to do is to keep on repeating it. If you repeat it, you can touch everybody. So that's the power you have. I hope you do it.